Hey, you got we have a special guest today. He is G-sharpe, also known as Gregory Sharp.
Yeah, that's me.
I really appreciate the opportunity to get an interview with you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Let's get right into it. How did you start out in the wrestling business?
For me, it was kind of like a lot of people's stories, just finding a school. So, of course, like a lot of people's stories as well, wanted to do it since I was a teenager. I got into a video game called SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. So, kind of
Okay.
tells you just how old I am. Um, and then from there, I started watching Ring of Honor and finding PWG and stuff on YouTube and really started finding out about independent wrestling. And from PWG, I found out about EWF and saw that they had a school out in San Bernardino and just kind of went for it from there.
Okay. No. I read somewhere that you got trained by Joey Ryan and Brian Kendricks.
Yeah. So I was really lucky. Of course, training EWF, where a bunch of people from Southern California had either been trained at or stopped in or wrestled for, because at the time EWF was kind of the bastion of independent pro wrestling in Southern California. So I was there for a while, but I would also go out to train with AWS or Mach 1, where Johnny Goodtime was a trainer, or Brian Kendrick, who had just been let go from WWE. He had stopped in and he started to do some training out in Southern California. And it kind of started off slow, but as the years went by, he went on to actually open up his own school out of Santino Bros. And I would stop in as much as I could, since he was always one of my favorite wrestlers and also a really wonderful person on top of everything else. So I took a lot of pride in being able to train with him and learn from him. And that was a really huge pleasure and honor for me.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I read somewhere that you wrestled in like 13 different countries.
Actually, I think I'm up to 17 or 18. I kind of forgot to keep my count, or I haven't been paying that much attention myself, honestly. But yeah, about 17 or 18 different countries and 5 different continents. So just about everywhere in the world that has professional wrestling outside of Australia.
Oh, really? Never been to Australia.
No, not yet. I have a lot of friends from Australia. When I first started wrestling, I was living in the place called the NWA House out in San Bernardino, and I met a lot of the Australian guys there. So Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols, Alex Kingston, a lot of the guys from Explosive Pro Wrestling that became friends of mine. Chris Weiss, another one. There's so many. I feel bad about not being able to name them all. Mind you, this was about 15 or 16 years ago, so I guess my memory kind of fails me. But yeah, they've always been really good about helping me out and taking care of me and each other. And we tried really hard to keep in touch ever since then. So I'll run across them here and there every few years, so every so often. And now even one of those guys, Marcus Pitt, who helped teach me how to lift weights in the very first place. Like, he was the first one to help me in the gym, became basically my personal trainer, and I've been training with him with my gym stuff for the past 3 years, and yeah, it's been great.
And out of the 18 countries you've been to, which is your favorite country to wrestle in?
Man, that's always really difficult. They're all special in their own way. And I know that's like the cheesiest, that's the most cop-out answer. But I've had so many special memories in Vancouver, wrestling up in Canada, and there's so much more of Canada that I haven't gotten to explore yet. As far as like wrestling wise, of course, like over in Toronto or over in Montreal. I've done a little bit in Alberta and Calgary and Edmonton, and those are really great times too. Mexico, of course, was a huge, amazing, religious experience almost for me to be able to train in Arena Mexico and learn from the professionals there, and of course wrestle around in anywhere I could get to. A lot of Arena Naucalpan, China, I just have so many special memories, and you would never think that China would be a special place for pro wrestling. But
Yeah.
for me, at least, having done the OWE stuff, it really was, and the bonds I made with the guys there, and some of my favorite matches I've ever had. And of course, I can't not say Ireland. Like when you said, "What's my favorite place?" immediately, Ireland popped into my head. Like they're some of my favorite wrestlers, some of my favorite people, some of my favorite audiences, some of my favorite promotions, like an OTT, which is such a big, huge promotion in my eyes, like one of the biggest promotions in all of Europe. And for them to open the doors up to a complete stranger, just some guy who showed up on their doorstep and had a good match, and then they go, "Hey, you want to come try that out over here?" And I'm like, "Wow, that's amazing! Like that's such a hard thing to do, and here I am doing it for OTT, and I really appreciate everything that they've done for me since then."
I know you wrestled in Asia all over the place. What is the different kind of styles of wrestling do they have?
It's very so. A couple of years ago, about 2 years ago, I did a tour of Southeast Asia. So I did Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, stopped off in China for a bit, and then finished off in South Korea. And a lot of those places, like pro wrestling, is very small. It's very new. So for them, it's all kind of fresh and new, and they're really just trying to figure out things on their own because they don't have a whole lot of veterans. They don't have a whole lot of guys that have years of experience or television experience and things like that. But they have so much heart and dedication and love for pro wrestling. As far as styles go, it's kind of all over the place because it's just really who influences them. And some of them are huge American pro wrestling fans, and other ones are really big Japanese pro wrestling fans, and some of them watch a lot of indie stuff from all over the world. So you really get a mixed bag of everything, and it's really taken back because, and I tell guys all the time when I'm out here and they're talking about training or wanting to get opportunities, it's like, dude, I've seen guys in Thailand like they're kicking little blue mats together to practice the bumps and rolls because that's all they got. They don't even have rings half the time to train in. Like a ring is a specialty, you know. So we should really be more grateful for everything that we have, like that we have these facilities that have rings and sometimes like the gym as well, just all this kind of stuff. Whereas like these guys, they're really just trying to make something out of nothing. Like I was at VPW or Vietnam Pro Wrestling 2 years ago, and like same thing of they literally had no pro wrestling at all whatsoever in Vietnam. And a couple of guys got together and they made a club. They were such big fans. They were so passionate about pro wrestling that they got the mats together and they started putting on their own little shows and doing their own little thing. And now they're having these huge sellout shows of 400, 500 fans, and they're doing really awesome things out there. And I really wish those guys the best. And it just goes to show like how passionate everyone is. Like that's what's really cool to me.
And you say you ended it in South Korea.
Yes.
I am Korean, so.
Hey.
So,
yeah, native here.
Oh yeah. What company did you work for in South Korea?
Pro Wrestling Society. Shout out to my man Shiho.
Okay.
Again, it's kind of a very similar story to the one I was just talking about with Vietnam. Shiho, he took it upon himself. Like there's a couple of different places in Korea, but they're very few, very small, very few and far between. So Pro Wrestling Society, PWS, was started by Shiho, and he's really built it up from the ground up. And last year they just had their biggest show with an arena of 3,000 people. And it was pretty funny because when I was there, he was like, "Oh, this is going to be our biggest show. Like we have 500, 600 something people here tonight." And then 6 months later, he tops that. So he's just another guy that he's going around the world, kind of like me, going to the United States, making connections, getting training, getting knowledge, going to the UK, going to Europe, going to Japan, training with Tajiri, learning from some of the best around the world. And he's bringing that back to South Korea to try to make South Korean wrestling something. And he's doing a really great job of it because to have it go from where it was just a few years ago to selling out arenas of 3,000 people and bringing in such big, huge names. And when I was there, like you could feel the energy from the people. Like they knew what wrestling was. They were entertained by wrestling. They were having a great time. They wanted to meet all the wrestlers. They wanted to talk to us. It was a really cool experience. Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, things work out and I get to see them again soon.
Well, you mentioned that company in South Korea.
Yes.
I actually had one of the wrestlers on Friday for an interview.
Okay, who'd you have?
Poison Rose.
Oh yeah, Poison. Yeah, she's great. Yeah, I got to meet her when I was there. She's really really cool, really great person from New York. So it was nice to have someone there who was also, American but also Korean. So she's got the best of both worlds. So she was able to like kind of explain to me the Korean side of things, but also she's American. So I just kind of felt natural talking to her. Now she's the new first ever PWS women's champion. So shout out to her.
So yeah. Well, you've been a champion too.
Oh yeah, I have done that a couple times.
I think it was PSW.
FSW, Future Stars Wrestling.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, FSW.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Where I'm actually still currently the reigning defending Future Stars of Wrestling heavyweight champion.
Oh, really?
Yes, we just main evented our first HyperX Arena show over on the Luxor on the famous Las Vegas Strip. Went really well. Great crowd, great turnout, great matches. Myself versus Kenny King got interrupted, made it into a little tag team match, took on Jay Vidal and Tyler Bateman, and came out on top. Looking forward to our next show. I believe that's going to be our cage match show, and it's going to be a really great time. It's great to, again, like I keep talking about, I feel like a broken record, like starting from the ground up and building into something. I wasn't here for the very first days of Future Stars of Wrestling here in Las Vegas, but Kenny King was.
Ooh,
so it's really special to have had a match or shared the ring with him on probably the biggest show that FSW has ever put on in the HyperX Arena on the Strip, considering he was there when they were in the swap meet. And I showed up about 2 years later in 2011, and I remember our first facility on Boulder Highway and the first time that we ever got into our first casino shows, moving on from there, because like when I first came, we were at the Silver Nugget, which is not the best place, not in the best part of town in Las Vegas. And we left that, got into better casinos, bigger stars, bigger matches. And, we produced some of the biggest talent going today.
Is this true?
Maybe.
You were in the same ring with Chris Bay, Alexander Hammerstone, and all those guys.
And, of course, our old friend Killer Cross.
Oh,
all former FSW champions. That was our anniversary show, I believe, just a few months ago. I was wrestling. Oh, excuse me. No. That was our Rumble show. So, sorry, I forgot our cool name for the show. Excuse me. Please don't tell Joe DeFalco on me. But yeah, so the idea of that show is that we have a Rumble in the beginning of the show, and whoever wins that Rumble goes on to the main event to challenge for the title. So former 3-time champion Alexander Hammerstone, as we all know from TNA and MLW, and even popped into NXT for a little bit.
Yes, he did.
The former 3-time FSW champion, one of the greatest champions in the history of FSW. I was challenged by him that night, and I came out victorious. And then after the match, had a little scuffle with some guys, but we got to end the show with 4 of the quote-unquote pillars of FSW with myself, Chris Bay, Hammerstone, and Killer Cross. Those guys, they've just done so much, and I've been lucky enough to meet and know them since all 3 of them started. Even in Hammerstone, back when he started back in 2011, 2012. He's been growing and developing so much. He's just a guy that, as much as I admire his work ethic and his physique, it always makes me feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't post my gym selfies today.
Nobody
But
can. Nobody
that
can.
was the first and only time I've ever shared a ring with Hammerstone one-on-one. So that was a really special match for me because for years, Hammer was always, head and shoulders above. As I said, 3-time champion, MLW, TNA, like he was always the guy. So for me, having been so low for so long to come up and finally take the FSW championship and then defend it against one of the greatest FSW champions that we've ever had, and also a really good friend. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Man, that is cool. But this might be a stupid question to ask.
What's that?
I remember when Chris Bay broke his neck.
Yes.
How's he doing now?
How did I what?
How's he doing now?
He's doing a lot better. He's an inspiration to us all. You know what I mean? I don't know if he cares for all the people putting him over all the time, but he really is. He's a walking miracle. To go from where he was to where he is now. I remember last year on his birthday when he posted the video of him standing up on his own and walking on his own. Just a few months after the incident happened, where they gave him such a small percentage of ever walking again. And to think like a few months later, he's on his own feet and he's doing his own thing. And I'm constantly in awe of like things that he's doing. And the fact that he's still giving back, like he's still helping out over at the school. He's still giving out knowledge. He's still helping people in their developing stages, and he wants everybody to be better. And that was really cool because I always told him, like on a personal level, like you are our beacon, like here is a guy who started out with us, who did all the shows with us. Like we would travel together, we would struggle together, and he's went from that to doing everything that we've always wanted to do with TNA and New Japan and tag titles and exhibition champion and wrestling all these big names. And it's like, okay, we always have Chris. Like we have Chris to look to because Chris did it. That means there's a possibility for us to do it. And even now, in the position after everything's happened to him, I feel like he still is that beacon, because he went through something so life-changing, so hard, so heartbreaking, and he's still going, he's still in the gym, he's still helping out, he's still living his life. Like nothing has stopped him. So yeah, he still is that beacon, of if he can do it, we can do it.
True. Let me ask you, in the business, I know that baby faces and heels. What is your favorite? Do you like being a baby face or do you like being a heel?
Man, that's such a tough one for me. When I first started, I actually really, because everybody wants to be the bad guy. Everybody wanted to be the bad guy. I'm like, no, man, I want to be the good guy. I want to do the cool stuff. I want to jump off stuff. I want to like do the honks. I want people to cheer for me. All that cool stuff. That's who I wanted to be. And as things naturally kind of progressed, I found kind of a niche for myself as a heel, and I started really carving a name for myself back in 2021 when I started doing G-sharpe again. I took my name back and was G-sharpe or Gregory Sharp, and I started doing my thing, and I really carved out a name for myself and a spot for myself as a heel. But it's kind of this strange thing where I kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm just a bad heel. But people just started kind of naturally gravitating towards me. And it was weird because that would happen in Las Vegas and that would happen in California, and it happened in promotions where like they're not related at all, but people would just see me and go like, yeah, G-sharpe, that's the one we're going to go with. I'm like, no, I'm a bastard. I'm a bad person. Don't cheer for me. But it was kind of swimming upstream. So I guess the thing that I wanted to do, I just kind of naturally found myself doing again. But that said, I really do enjoy playing that heel character. I really do enjoy doing that heel work. But really, Yeah, man, as long as we're telling our stories and the people are engaged and they're into it, yeah, I love both sides of the coin. I really do.
So where did the name G-sharpe come from?
Deck of cards.
Oh, really?
So it was the night before my first match, and I was told specifically, hey, you can't change your first name. So your first name is Gregory, that's it. And I was like, all right, cool, but I don't have a last name. And mind you, it's the night before my first match. I'm like, I don't have a name. I don't even have an idea. So a roommate of mine comes into my room. He's got all these football cards and baseball cards and stuff like this. So he's like, all right, here's all these cards. Shift through these cards, see what you like. I think we came up with like 4 different cards. Of course, I don't remember the other names because it was years ago. But yeah, I landed on Sharp. So it's like, okay, Gregory Sharp. And then I wound up going with G-sharpe because another one of our guys over at FSW, Remy Marcel, I got to give him the credit because it was always him. I would show up and I would have the shows or I show up at training and you go, oh, G-sharpe, G-sharpe, good to see you, G-sharpe, G-sharpe. And then it just kind of like bled into other people. Oh, G-sharpe, G-sharpe. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool. I mean, Gregory's cool, but G, it's short, it's fun, it's easy. It's cool. I dig it. So yeah, I just kind of rolled on with G-sharpe.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, just don't ask me to sing or play any musical instruments. It's not for me, pal. It ain't for me.
Yeah, I will. So before you got into this, you used to watch the WWE, TNA, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Who was your inspiration to get into the business?
I actually carry a list.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. I had to make a whole list because it was a couple of people, So as a kid, of course, my favorite was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
But when it became this thing of like, oh, it's real and I can do this and I want to do this, and also I really got into the more like the wrestling side, the technical side, the moves, and like all of the characters. And because when I was a kid, I think it was just like this entertaining thing. I didn't realize the bigness of WrestleMania or the importance of the Royal Rumble or the heavyweight champion or whatever. It was just wrestling's cool. But by the time I was a teenager, that's when I was like, oh, okay. And I was able to decipher like, oh, this is WrestleMania and this is how the Royal Rumble works. And this is TNA and these are the independents and this is the champion. These are the tag team champions, yada, yada. And like I said, the thing that really made me want to or inspire me to be a pro wrestler was independent wrestling. So sadly, it's all guys that are, not known for being WrestleMania main eventers, but they meant a lot to me. Of course, like I was talking about Brian Kendrick and Paul London, who, even though they were on WWE television, like I also saw them on Ring of Honor, and I was like, wow, these guys are amazing, especially since, they're not big guys. So, I think that's why I identified with them. I related to them was they weren't big guys. They weren't these huge, hulking, massive 6'7", 300-pound dudes. Like, oh, that's cool, but I can't personally relate to that. But these dudes that are smaller, they're quicker, they move cooler. Like that was a big inspiration to me. And then I really liked, of course, like I said, independent wrestling and international wrestling. So there was guys like Mystico. And when I saw him and found out more about Lucha Libre, Kenny Omega, who at the time it was really cool to see a guy that was a nerd and loved anime like I loved anime, and he was also an amazing wrestler. And so I would see that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's totally who I want to be like that guy's amazing. TJP, who I believe is like the best technical wrestler of all time. And when I moved to San Bernardino to pursue wrestling, I was in the mindset of like, okay, TJP is the greatest wrestler on earth. So if I can be taught by TJ, I'll become the greatest wrestler on earth. But unfortunately, he'd already moved to Florida, so that whole plan went out the window. Scorpio Sky was huge. Got Lost was huge. Like I thought Scott was just the coolest, best wrestler that there could be. Like I said, huge fan for PWG. And then there were a couple of the Japanese guys that left a huge impression on me. And they left a huge impression on a lot of people. I think they were generational talents that influenced the way that pro wrestling changed over the years and evolved over the years. So like Naomichi Marufuji or a Kenta, and those matches, like they really changed the game for me because I would watch Kenta versus Marufuji and like, oh my God, like this is the greatest matches. This is the greatest pro wrestling of all time. Like that's what I really, really got into.
Nice. So yeah, let me ask you, have you ever got like try out with the bigger companies like WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan Wrestling?
A little bit here and there. Most of it was a few years ago. So I was on New Japan Strong for a few episodes. Back in 2022, they had their first ever show here in Las Vegas, and I teamed up with my buddy Jake Boston Young, who's now part of the United Empire over in Japan, and we teamed up and took on West Coast Wrecking Crew.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would do a couple more matches for their LA shows before that kind of all changed and went belly up, unfortunately. I had a match on TNA about that same year against a guy named Bupender. Really good talent, trying his best, kind of chasing it like the rest of us. AEW, I had one match, a dark match versus the House of Black. I got absolutely pile driven by our buddy Brody King, so that was a good time. But yeah, most of my career has not been televised. It's really been spanned out across the world from Southeast Asia to all over the North America, South America, bouncing around Europe a little bit. Of course, I had my little match in Africa a couple of years ago.
You've been everywhere.
A little bit. So one of the biggest things that I wanted to do, or one of the reasons I wanted to be a pro wrestler was because I wanted to travel the world. Okay. And I think that's the thing that really drew me to indie wrestling was like, oh, these guys are on their own schedules. They're doing what they want. And like the best ones, like they get to go around the world. Like these guys are wrestling in China and Japan and Mexico and all over Europe. Like I want to do that. Those are all the places I want to go. And yeah, that really influenced me. And at one point I just kind of started following that, and I don't even think it was meant to be. Like I started just traveling. I started backpacking, and just because of who I am, I couldn't stay away from pro wrestling. So every time I would go somewhere, I'd be like, oh, what's wrestling? What wrestling do you have here? Like what wrestling do they have in Missouri? What wrestling do they have in New Orleans? What wrestling do they have in Chicago and in the East Coast and Florida and Ireland in Europe, wherever I can go, what wrestling can I find?
So as an independent wrestler, is it hard to get booked by different countries? How does that work?
A lot of it for me, which is kind of showing up, especially when I first started doing it about 10 years ago. It was maybe not very uncommon, but it was uncommon for just some guy from another country to show up at somebody's training or show up at somebody's show, and then they were more likely to give you an opportunity. But a lot of times I had to prove myself. Like down in Mexico, nobody was like giving out any handouts. I had to go and train with all those guys and prove that I can go. Out in Europe, it was a little easier. They were a little bit more open, especially out in Ireland. Italy was very welcoming to me, and I thought that was really cool. I had a good time traveling around with the Knight family, doing the camps over in England.
Wow.
And then China was probably the only place that we really got invited. We were lucky enough to be a part of OWE back when that was still a thing before COVID and everything like that. And we really tried to carve out a niche for pro wrestling in China. And it's just, I don't know, maybe we didn't have the best leadership at the time, or we just weren't the ones to do it. But it was cool to spearhead the idea of bringing a regular pro wrestling show to China that featured mostly Chinese wrestlers, which had never been done before.
Wow. So you've been to all these countries. How many languages do you know how to speak?
Not as much as I would like to, unfortunately. So I got Spanish pretty well down, Well, maybe
Okay.
not, but I can have a pretty decent conversation. I'm still working on my German. I wish that when I was in China that I had taken practicing Mandarin more seriously because actually, in the weirdest way, because my whole life I tried to learn Japanese because I was a big, like I said, anime fan, and
Yeah.
obviously I love the Japanese for wrestling. And the whole idea was like someday I'm going to go to Japan, so I got to be ready. I got to speak Japanese. But Japanese was always just so difficult to me. Like to this day, I barely know any words in Japanese other than like the very basics. But when I got to China, everybody talks about, oh my God, Chinese is so hard. Chinese is so hard. But when I started to look into Mandarin and started to like learn it a bit, it just kind of came naturally, like way easier than Japanese ever did. And I really, really like Mandarin. Like it made so much sense to me. It flowed very easily. Even the idea of like the different tenses, you know, the high, the low, the flat, the up and down tone, like all the tones, like it really wasn't that crazy to me. And I was like, oh, and I found myself really getting into it. I just wish I had spent or I could spend more time practicing Mandarin, or I'd done so when I was there. Because now it's a little bit harder to practice because I don't really have any. I don't have the. I'm not surrounded by Mandarin all the time. Not surrounded by people that only speak Mandarin. Maybe I can go out and find some people, but it'd be a lot harder than, of course, when you're just in China.
Yeah, sure, sure. And the last question is, and I ask this to all the independent wrestlers, who would you put on the Mount Rushmore of independent wrestling?
Of independent wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. Because technically, like, there's so many people that I would think of like off the top of my head, but then they went on to like do big stuff in WWE or AEW and stuff like that. So it's like, do they count anymore? You know what I mean? Right? That makes it really difficult. Because off the top of my head, I would say Danielson, Joe, Styles. That fourth one's tough. Oh, Daniels, Christopher Daniels.
All right.
But all of them, like Danielson and AJ, are former WWE champions. Samoa Joe's won the AEW World Championship. Christopher Daniels, he was the only one that he won the Ring of Honor World Championship. But they all went on to AEW or WWE, of course, because you know they were these big, huge, influential wrestlers on the indies that you know their talent eventually got recognized and they got brought up and they did big, huge things. But also as far as like independent wrestling goes, especially when I was growing up or when I was coming up, like those were the guys, like easily top four. You know, like you weren't doing anything without one or all four of those guys, whether that was Ring of Honor, TNA, PWG, WXW over in Germany, or Progress or Revolution, Noah, New Japan. Like they did all that stuff.
Oh yeah, they did. They really did. What about the independent wrestling wrestlers now that are coming up?
Any guys now that are coming up, that's tough because there's a lot. There's a lot. There's so many more. Like the business has exploded so much. Like it's so open because it's so much easier to get into and so much more popular than it was 20 years ago. So there's just so many more guys. So it's really hard to narrow it down. I would love to say Kevin Blackwood, but unfortunately he's having his last match next weekend. So
really?
Yeah, very unfortunate. Well, I mean, you know, fortunate, unfortunate. I'm glad that my friend is, you know, taking care of himself and that he's going to go on and, you know, do other things with his life. But he's a phenomenal professional wrestler, a wonderful person. Very happy to know him. Happy that we got to have that one match because we were both really antsy and jonesing for it. I wish I had known that would be the only match that we were ever going to have because I think I would have really gone after it a little bit more. But I think that's the thing is you just got to treat every match like you're never going to have another match again. Or you're never going to wrestle this person again because you never know if you will. Of course, I got to talk about my favorite rival, my top rival, my guy, Alpha Zoe. Everywhere we go, we got to fight each other. I'm pretty sure we're going to fight each other again in like a month or so. So please look out for that one. I mean, he's maybe not like a huge talent as far as like the huge spectrum of independent wrestling, but as far as
Yeah.
like NorCal goes and the Western states go, like he kills it everywhere he goes. He kills me. He tries to kill me, but we try to kill each other everywhere we go. So of course I gotta say shout out to him. God, there's so many. Titus Alexander, he's doing really big things, really doing great things. He's always been a phenomenal talent that I try to tell him all the time, like, dude, don't worry, like your time is coming. Like you can't not. Literally can't not, dude. You're too good. Johnny Robbie, she's phenomenal. Can't say enough good things about her. Like such an incredible talent. Really always enjoy watching her work. Along with Amira, she's incredibly talented as well, and I think the world's really starting to recognize both of them, and that's awesome. As far as tag teams are concerned, I guess I'm going to be super biased here and say Citos and Mariachi Montana. If I can pat my own self on the back, I kind of had a hand in teaching both those teams. I was actually
really?
Ricky G's. Yeah. I was Ricky G's first match ever 7 years ago, and we're actually going to run it back this Saturday over at West Coast Pro up in Oakland, I believe. So if you have the opportunity, if anybody that's watching this has the opportunity, please come check that out.
Where? Oakland, California?
Yeah, up in NorCal. I believe. I'm sorry.
Really?
I've not been paying attention, but it's West Coast Pro. So if you check out the West Coast Pro Twitter, Facebook, Instagram page, they'll be promoting that show.
I might have to come down.
Please do. We happy to have you. We can take a picture, get to meet in person.
I'm about 25 minutes drive away.
Oh, okay, man. Just a hop, skip, and a jump.
So I might have to take your offer on that.
No, please do. We're happy to have you. Bring a friend if you can.
Man. But yeah, is there anything that you want to plug on the channel? Like your social media account?
Oh, yeah, of course. I only got the one social media. It's all I can stand. Instagram, at G-sharpe for real. That's sharp with an E, and then the number 4, and then real.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys want to follow me on there, I don't post much. But check my stories. It's either going to be something funny or letting you know about shows I got coming up. So, like I said, I got West Coast Pro this weekend, somewhere in NorCal, I believe Oakland. We'll figure it out. I don't know. And then after that, I'm back for WrestleCore in Vancouver, Canada. But that one's actually sold out. So if you didn't get your tickets on this one, best of luck on the next one. The following weekend, I'll be back in NorCal. Again, I'm from SoCal, so I don't know NorCal very well. I only started going there about 6 years ago, and I try to avoid it as much as possible. But I'll be back with Ugwa, and I'll be taking on Brooke Havoc, another great talent. Actually, our first time ever wrestling each other, so that'll be interesting. First time ever, only time ever. So yeah, come through, check out those matches if you get check out those shows if you get the chance.
Okay.
Okay.
I really appreciate you taking the time to do it for me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was a good time.
And I hope we can do it again.
Yeah. Let me know, dog.
So once again, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
And guys, I'll have everything in the description so you guys can check him out. So,
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Thank you.